Hello, my name is Ale Moreno. I also go by Luya or DJ Yerba Malita here on KVRX. I've only had one show and it's called The Merry-Go-Round. So I was born and somewhat raised in Houston, Texas. Hey, so shout out to all of my Houstonians out there. H-Town, hold it down. Hey, what brought me to UT was that I wanted to be an engineer and they had a really cool program. Plus they gave me some money. So I was like, yeah, easy choice. You're giving me money, cool. So yeah, that's why I'm here. And also Austin is really cool. Like I didn't know Austin was like this cool until like I started living here, and I'm like, I definitely like I'm so glad I moved here because Austin is great. So I'm currently listening to, oh my god, okay, so I made this playlist and it's called I Am, and it's full of songs that I think like lift me to like a higher frequency. So I'll just tell you guys the first two songs and then you'll catch the vibes. So the first song is Road of the Lonely Ones by Madlib, or like Bottom Dollar by Nascent featuring CS Armstrong. It has some like Knowledge in there, Navy Blue, John Bapp, Liv. I've been listening to that kind of stuff. I've always listened to like R&B. I think that's like a Houston thing. If you're from Houston, you like R&B, I would say. I like rap. Rap is nice. I just like supporting smaller artists now. I would say if anything has changed since joining KVRX is that I realized that smaller artists really have a lot of more fun with their music, because it's more like, especially if you don't have a label, you are much more free to do whatever you want with your music. And I really admire when artists are experimental and not just making music, copying stuff to appeal to the masses. Like I really like it when it's like you can tell that it's original and you can tell that it's like authentic and coming from their heart, and it's just speaking to you on a different level. So yeah, if my music taste has changed since joining KVRX, I would say it's just smaller artists are where it's at, and you should support them more because Jesus, such good content. If anything exciting was happening in my world is that I am starting to have a better relationship with my dad. I like recently opened up to him about like my dreams about just, I don't know, being in the music world, being in the art world, being in the creative world. Like I just have so many ideas. I'm tired of suppressing them, I just want to start creating, and I'm opening up to them about all of these little ideas that I have. They're actually supporting me. It shakes me up, because I always thought they just wanted me to be an engineer. That's why I chose engineering, because they were like, do it, you're smart, it'll bring money. But now I'm like, I don't want just money. I want to do something that I love, and they're actually supporting me because they see how much I love this. So that's really nice. That's exciting for my world. Oh my god. I think I would say, why is this so hard? Why is school so hard? Like why do teachers love giving so much work? Like, is it really that necessary? Like, we're gonna forget all of this stuff, like, to an extent. We're gonna learn most of the stuff that we need to learn on the job for the job. So I just don't know why they're so excessive. Like, it's hurting our mental health. They could chill out. They could be more compassionate, I just don't understand why it's so much. That's my question. So if there are any educators here or future educators here, just think about the work you're gonna give out to your students and make sure that you're not killing them. Since I'm actually a new DJ, like I started DJing fall 2020, I never got to be in the booth due to corona restrictions. So I don't know what being in the booth is like. I just imagine it's like being in heaven. Like I imagine pearly gates and like parties, like a disco ball nonstop, beats, I don't know. But one cool thing that I do to like feel like I'm connected to a live audience is when my show is on, I'll just go on Twitter at Yerba Malita and I'll start live tweeting about the music that's playing. And sometimes people favorite it, sometimes the artists interact with it, so that's really fun. I like doing that, so maybe go follow that account. Since Corona, I haven't really had an opportunity to hang out with these people, so no socials, sadly. No historic moments yet, other than the great conversations that we have on Discord. But yeah, since I still feel like I'm a new DJ, so I'm still figuring my show out, and I think I'm trying to come up with more content. I'm trying to be more bold about it. So if I had like advice to give, is current advice that I'm trying to follow is just like have fun with your show. This is your show. Feel free to experiment with your show however you want. Make it you, make it fun. And where can people keep up with me? So my name is DJ Yerba Malita. My Instagram handle is at Yerba Malita, and so is my Twitter handle. So you can follow me there. I'm sending a lot of good energy to everyone out there that's listening. I love you. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Hey, I'm Jacob Zenner, aka DJ Zenner, and I'm the host of the Zenner Zone, which is going into its 4th season this spring. I'm from El Paso, Texas. I've grown up here pretty much my whole life. Although I was born in Albuquerque, El Paso is really what I consider to be my home. And what brought me to UT was, no hate, I just really wanted to go to a really good business school, and McCombs was just like, seemed like a really great option as far as just everything that it offered, and just the fact that staying in state and being in Austin, which is a city that I've always loved, it really sold me. Super glad that I ended up here. I'm currently listening to a lot of this band called Cardiacs. They're from England. And their frontman, Tim Smith, sadly passed away this year. I think he's a legend. I mean, I just think he's an absolute genius. And just a genius in terms of composition and songwriting and melodic sensibility. And I've just been really obsessed with them. And it's really sad that his death is like the reason why I heard about them, because I think they're just super underrated. And I guess I'm just also listening to a lot of been into a lot of cosmic country kind of stuff, like Michael Neesmith and Graham Parsons and the Flying Burrito Brothers. Also been listening to a lot of folk and a lot of just standard kind of indie pop, indie rock, psych pop, broke pop, all that stuff. I think my music taste has kind of changed since I've joined KVRX. I think I was more kind of stuck in a box where I would just listen to more kind of generic indie music. I mean, I still always kind of liked wacky music. Like, I was really into Mr. Bungle, and I've always been into like Ween, and like I've always been that way. But I think now, ever since joining KVRX, I've listened to even more experimental stuff, and I've also gotten a lot more into country, which I was a bit concerned about at first, because there's just always been this taboo thing for me as far as country goes, where I was like, oh, I can't listen to country, that's so bad. But no, I think country is actually a really incredible genre of music. I just got an internship for the spring semester. I'm going to be working for this film production company called Buffalo 8. They're based in Santa Monica, and I'm going to be doing a lot of film financing stuff, which I'm super stoked about, because I really want to end up in film or music one day doing finance and strategy and that kind of stuff. So I think this will be a really cool opportunity. Also, I secured an internship for the summer, which is very relieving. My world has just been really good recently, other than that. I have the best girlfriend. Her name's DJ Fish, aka Rhea Mahesh, the host of Frog and Fish and Keyboard Cowgirl. She's awesome. And it's been really awesome getting to get to know her over the past semester. We started dating in October. Yeah, and it's just been a really fun few months. And couldn't ask for anyone else. Couldn't ask for a better person to be with. I'm just glad to be home in El Paso. I think it's been nice to spend time with some family and just kind of relax from a really busy semester. A question that's been occupying my mind for a while is, when will we get out of the pandemic? I think everyone's kind of thinking about that. And I don't know, lately I'm feeling a little better about it, because like my grandparents got the vaccine today actually, and I think it's only a matter of time until we get the vaccine, and I guess life begins to return to a little bit more of a normalcy. Since I'm no longer in the booth, I get that same feeling of freedom and catharsis, probably from just going outdoors, honestly. I've really been into going outdoors this semester, since there's not much we could do. Just going on walks, spending time outside has really been giving me a lot of freedom and catharsis. Also, when I'm home, playing my drums gives me a lot of freedom and really relieves me of a lot of anxiety. And also, interviewing artists really gives me a lot of freedom and catharsis, because it kind of brings me back to days of being in the booth and doing that same thing. So I think that's a really nice little thing. Well, I guess one of my favorite memories is the reason why I joined KVRX, which is I saw Wise Blood in El Paso in 2019. And I'd heard about KVRX before going to the show, and like I knew all about it, and I was kind of interested, but I was kind of just scared of joining, and I just didn't think I really had the time. But one of the programming directors, Diego, well, he's now graduated, but Diego was at the show. We actually just met that night, and he was like, we were just talking about my interests, and we really hit it off because we were both at UT and liked the same music. And he's like, why don't you join KVRX? And I kind of forgot about it for a bit, but then he messaged me on Facebook like a few weeks later, and like he followed up with me, and I joined. And I'm really appreciative of that moment, because if it wasn't for him, I don't think I'd be here today. Also for my friend Chris Burleson for also kind of encouraging me to do it, and also Lauren Johnson for training me and for being just kind of a mentor in my life. I never went to a social, which is pretty sad. One of my biggest regrets, never went to a KVRX party. And that is something I really, really regret. But I know that when we get those back, I'm going to be at every one of them to try to make up for the ones that I missed. Some historic moments. I think one of the biggest historical moments for me at KVRX was when I broke the record for having the most people in the KVRX booth at once. I think we had 15 people. And while there is no record of, I guess, like no one's really kept the record written down or anything, I'm pretty sure that's the most people who's ever been in one booth at one time. So I'm very proud of that moment. I think Ali was sitting outside, and he looked at us like, and just, I could tell the guy was really confused as to what was going on, which is really funny. It was an historic day, and I don't know if it will ever be beat. So if you're listening to this, try to beat me, but I don't think you can. Advice for new DJs, honestly, just be yourself. If you like certain music and you're afraid to play it, like don't be afraid, just play it. If people don't like it, like that's their problem. This is your show. And like this is your time to just kind of express your passion and your love and your interest in different things and different music and even talk shows and sports. So just do what you want to do and just be yourself. Don't try to stick to a formula. I don't know. Just don't try to do something that's already been done. I mean, unless you really want to, but just be yourself, you know? That's all I could say. Be authentic. Well, you can follow me on Instagram at JakeZen72. You could follow me on Facebook, friend me on Facebook at Jacob Zenner. Well, that's not my handle, but you could just search me Jacob Zenner and you'll find me there. You could find me on Twitter. I forgot what my handle is, but you could find me on there. I'm going to be here for the next 3 semesters. So Zenner Zone will keep going until I graduate, and you could look for me there. So tune into the Zenner Zone whenever it's airing. Thank you very much to Reno for letting me do this. Love Reno's regions. And I think Reno's a legend at KVRX, and it's an honor to be able to do this for him. So thank you.
Hey y'all, my name is DJ Toph, and I've been the host of a handful of different shows during my time at KVRX. This past fall semester was devoted to Old Fuzzy Compressor, with my other 2 shows, A Tale of Two Ditties and Kaleidoscopic Kickstart, coming the previous 2 years. So a little bit about me. I'm from Cedar Park, an Austin suburb located in blessed Williamson County. Family ties and lifelong indoctrination brought me to UT, and maybe the great programs they have. A little bit of that. So the music I've been listening to this year has really been one of deep dives into the discographies of older artists. X, Pavement, Built to Spill, Stereolab, and Sleater Kinney have all been mainstays as of late. My taste has changed dramatically since joining KVRX sophomore year. Those were dark, Spotify surf rock sunshine. Brockhampton is the peak of modern music. Still Woozy is so unique. Times. There's plenty of stuff I listen to that I still enjoy, but we all grow. So yeah, something exciting happening in my world. I've been reading a lot about the start of the punk scene in the 70s, and I just finished Please Kill Me, a fantastic book of firsthand accounts of the era. And now I'm on to Under the Big Black Sun, a personal history of LA punk, written by John Doe and Exene of X, along with others. Oh, and I got a new guitar pedal, so that's pretty cool. How do people make time for their friends, families, and selves in a capitalist society? That's a big one. Also, what is my personality minus the consumption of art? Another one. So, since I'm no longer in the booth, where do I get the same feelings of catharsis? I'd say crappy jam sessions with my friends. Funny enough, the booth sometimes gave me anxiety from, sort of an imposter syndrome. I thought any moment someone would walk through that door and berate me for the accidental blacklisted artist I played or something. Turns out KVRX doesn't have an ounce of judgment in its organizational body. Some favorite memories of mine, absolutely breaking the record for most people in the booth during an airing of the Zenner Zone. Shout out Jacob Zenner. I, for one, didn't spend nearly enough time at the station, and I think about it often, so don't make the same mistake I did when things hopefully revert back to normal. Break our record. So I can't remember exactly what the best social I went to was, but I know it was Evan Stack's humble abode. There was punch, karaoke, and cigarettes on the porch. You know, we're pretty on the nose with this whole social thing, huh? Some historic moments. Oh, I'm going to have to go with my sweat-filled pitch at staff meeting on behalf of my internship at the time. I was quaking in front of a room full of who I held to be the coolest people around. And this was early on in my KVRX career, and it kind of shattered the idea that I didn't belong in this space. And I've got to bring up the Zenner Zone record again because it was too good. Some advice for new DJs, I'd say talk to people about the music they're passionate about. While we all fall back on the same staples, DJs here have such unique and special tastes. It's pretty incredible. You'll find some pretty obscure artists and maybe hear about someone's Weezer obsession from time to time. So where can you keep up with me? On Instagram at Chris_B_cream, and that's with a K because I'm clever, and 44 at the end. And the same on Twitter, Chris_B_cream44. Peace and love, y'all.
My name is Lanie, aka DJ Horse, and I used to be the host of Galloping Through the Modern Wild West. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas, and I came to UT to study radio, television, and film, which also brought me to KVRX to do radio. I love radio just because even though you're alone in the booth, you don't feel alone. The music just fills the room, and every once in a while you get a weird call, like somebody hitting on you or somebody just requesting a song. Some advice for new DJs is just be yourself. Put your foot in the door. Don't be afraid to talk to people. And don't be afraid to talk on air. There's probably people listening, but they're not going to criticize you for anything you say. I want to say my favorite memories are both inside and outside the booth because all the people I became friends with from being at KVRX, we would hang out outside of the booth and we would just walk down Quad together and do random things, go out to eat between shows or right before Local Live. Oh my gosh, Local Live is also Local Live is a live music show that KVRX also puts on every week, and it's just so much fun getting to have everybody come around, be part of a crew, and just work together to put something creative on the air. And that's also how radio is. Everything is creativity and just done with a lot of care, and that's one of the best parts of being in radio. I've currently been listening to, honestly, my top 20 songs of 2020 from Spotify's Wrapped. It's so nice to be able to just sit back and hit all the nostalgic tunes, like all the albums I've listened to while at work, like Joji's Nectar and Lady Gaga's Chromatica. Geez, both of those albums in their entirety are on that track. But I also listen to indie music, slightly underground music, some westerns, just a little bit of everything. And finally, y'all can keep up with me at Lanie Dickey on Instagram or at LanieD_ on Twitter. Last but not least, a question that's just been burning in my mind recently is, why did Stephanie Meyer choose to have Jacob imprint on a baby?
Hey y'all, my name is Miguel Cuevas, otherwise known as DJ Miggy when I'm in the booth, host of The Miguel Show on KVRX, where we only played songs that have come out within the past 7 days. Still go to UT, so I'm still living here in Austin. Got about 2 semesters left to go before I graduate. Since KVRX, I feel like my music taste has really expanded, especially in songs that are in a language other than English. I remember when I was being trained, me and the guy training me had a conversation about all these crazy Japanese punk bands, and it really opened me up to music that I probably wouldn't have been able to find on my own, so I owe KVRX for that one. Right now in my life, I'm just trying to focus on graduating. Maybe one day I'll start a band or a music project when I'm not so busy, but a question, or I guess more of an observation that's been occupying my mind for a while really is the way in which trends, especially like musical trends, tend to evolve so quickly right in front of our eyes, and we're just all kind of here experiencing it firsthand. And it really just leaves you wondering, like, what is the future going to have in store for us? What is culture and style and music going to be like in 2021? And really, the more I think about that, the more optimism I have for the future going forward into this new year. So since I left the booth, I've been getting that fixed by just jamming with my friends, or I have a couple of friends who are in bands and I've been helping them with the recording process, and it's a lot of fun. I think my favorite memories from KVRX are just going to be meeting all these cool people, who have the same kind of music taste as you, and having them share their recommendations and getting to know so many new things. And it was a lot of fun. Local Live was super sick too. So my advice to any new DJs is to just step out of your comfort zone, go explore some new things. You might find something you like. And that doesn't just apply to music. That's probably good life advice for anything, really. Anyone who wants to keep up with me can find me on Instagram at MigQuevis. Bye.
Hi, my name's Emma Roach. I'm a junior PR major at UT, and I do Love Letter 2. Currently, I've been doing it for, 4 semesters now, but I do it with my Josie Pizzo. I'm from Austin, born and raised. What brought me to UT is I actually really want to go out of state, but it's the best school in Texas and like a cheap option, and I'm actually really glad I went here. What music am I listening to currently? I've currently really been into Porridge Radio, also Kate Bush, a lot of stuff like that. KVRX definitely has expanded my music for sure. Like, I've always been into music, but just having to choose stuff expands it. I just learned how to knit. So I knitted a balaclava, and I'm working on making a rug. So I'm really excited about that. How people perceive me, I always think about that. It's so interesting to think how people look at you. I don't know why. I think listening to music really loud in my car. Also, just watching video essays about music or music documentaries. I really enjoyed that. Favorite memories from KVRX. Me and Josie got a mentee whenever the mentee program first started, and we kind of did it just in hopes that we'd meet a cool person or whatever. And we ended up getting our mentee, Jack McMahon, and he ended up being one of our closest friends. And I think that's so amazing. And we've met so many people through him, and it just worked out really well. I've never been to a social, sadly. What are some historic moments? I guess we love writing in the Crush DJ Journal Crush List. I think it's hilarious. It's just funny to put people on it. And advice for new DJs, I think just get involved. I don't know, being a part of KVRX is so amazing. There's so many cool people in it, and so just try to immerse yourself and really look to meet new people. Oh, another historic moment was my friend Jacob Zenner does the show The Zenner Zone. On his last show last year, he tried to get as many people as possible in the DJ booth. So it was me and 15 of my closest friends on one show, and that was really fun. And then where can people keep up with me? I guess on my Instagram, it's at Emma Kate with 2 E's _. Check it out.
Hello, my name is Peter Kishler, aka DJ Lil Yeet, as I go by at KVRX. I host Audio Oddities and a sports show called Special Teams. I originally come from Chicago, Evanston, if any of y'all have heard of that. Shout out E-Town. I came to UT kind of get away from home. 1,000 miles felt far enough. I don't know. Austin just seemed like a really interesting city to go to because of all the live music going on down here. I'd just never been to Texas before, so it felt like something different and my chance to become a certified cowboy. My music taste has definitely progressed a lot over the past couple of years. I was pretty rigid on my music taste back in high school. I listened to a lot of punk and a lot of grunge music. I've definitely kind of expanded my horizons now, thanks to KVRX in part. I listen to a lot of jazz now because I like to pretend to be classy, but also just because it's good background music for when you're working, just trying to get some stuff done. It also just has a lot of weird, funky, kind of niche corners that you can kind of dig into, which is good for my show. Just interesting music content. Things are pretty quiet for me right now. I'm back home visiting for the holidays and kind of just trying to get ready for spring semester and I guess what's to come in 2021. So not much. Been reading a little bit, but also just getting some good R&R. Question is kind of pointless. It's just something that's weighing on me because I finished the second season of Mandalorian last night. If you haven't seen the ending yet and you care, spoiler alert ahead, so just kind of muffle your ears for 30 seconds here. So they have these robot stormtroopers that the Mandalorian ejects, because they're all in this like airlock. So you can just like literally pull a lever and he just like ejects them all into the depths of space. And it just seems like such a terrible design flaw. Like, why did they put their super sophisticated death robots in this like vacuum room where they could just be yeeted at like the flick of a button? I mean, like, to be fair, these are the same people who designed like the Death Star to have like one fatal design issue for, you know, some kid with a rocket launcher to just kind of like shoot clear shot at. So I get that it's not like the smartest engineering group in the world, Imperial Empire. I just like, why? Did no one else think for like a second to just like, hey, maybe we shouldn't put our super expensive weapon investment into this like very precarious position? I guess not. Maybe it just makes for better television that way, but that's just my opinion. Well, doing my show this semester has been kind of a good replacement for the in the booth experience, because I like to ramble a lot in my show, and I was still able to replicate that even though we're doing all the remote production this year. Other than that, while I'm home, I've been driving a lot because I don't have a car down in Austin, so it's just nice to be able to drive, and I get to drive into Chicago where there's a lot of lights and stuff, and it's just kind of a nice way to get some space without really, you know, getting within 6 feet of people or doing anything else that you shouldn't be doing. So I've just always found driving as like a very therapeutic kind of quiet moment where it's just like you and the road at night. Yeah, that's been my outlet for now. I think my favorite memory from KVRX was a couple years ago at Local Live. I don't remember who was supposed to be performing that night, but they had to cancel super last minute. So in place of a real act, we just kind of set up like a karaoke night, and everyone who was there to volunteer that night kind of just like performed a little bit on TV and, you know, showed the world our beautiful, beautiful singing talents. And it was just a lot of fun. It was like my first year in KVRX, and I remember that was like the first time it really felt like I had a home at the station and everything, because we were just goofing around, and it was super funny. I was like laughing for the entire like 2 hours because, you know, it's a lot of Weezer, a lot of Death Cab for Cutie, a lot of Fish as well, the band. So it was just a fun time all around. I think the best social was the one last year. It was spring semester, like maybe within a month of everything getting shut down for coronavirus. We were at a house for like dudes on the rugby team, I believe, and it was just it was just a lot of fun. It was one of those nights where everything kind of just flowed naturally. There wasn't really any like, it didn't feel like you needed to go anywhere. Like the whole night just kind of figured itself out. And then in the context of the way that the rest of the year ended up going, I think it makes it a little more special in my mind, because, you know, that was the last chance I got to see a lot of people for a while. You know, the last memory we had before everything kind of got turned upside down in the shutdown. I think KVRX Fest a couple years ago was really cool. I remember when they were putting together all the stuff for that. It was really exciting and cool to me just because I'd never been a part of anything like that. And it was just kind of cool to be on that side of like a big music festival type thing. And it was just altogether pretty cool. In terms of if it's just like general historic moments, I think Watergate was kind of a big deal. The Washington Post story on Watergate is also arguably a more important deal, because without that, there wouldn't have been a Watergate story as far as people were concerned. Well, it kind of sucks right now just because we have to do everything remote and we can't really do stuff at the station like we would in normal times. As soon as we're able to kind of get back to safely being around other people, just kind of recommend to spend as much time as you can at the station, you know, even if you're just going to get some work done or something, or just want to like hang out or something, because you never know who's going to be there at the station when you get there. You might kind of walk in on an interesting conversation or something that's just kind of amusing to you, whatever. So I'd say, yeah, as soon as we're able to kind of get back to doing what we love, I just try to be at the station and try to just meet as many people as you can, because there's a lot of interesting people you meet at the station that you wouldn't really expect to have a conversation otherwise. And then you just kind of talk about random stuff that, you know, is on your mind. Shoot the breeze, as it were. Well, if you did want to keep up with me, I will be doing Audio Oddities next semester as well. I've been airing on Sundays for the past 2 or 3 years now, so hopefully we'll have another Sunday slot. It's a lot of strange novelty music and experimental music and just kind of the weirdest stuff I can dig up from online. So if you're into that, I'll be back next semester on Sundays, and I'll be doing a sports talk show about hockey at some point during the week as well, but we don't have scheduling yet. Other than that, I have a band in Austin, Beach Blossom. You can check us out on Spotify and YouTube, maybe, I don't know, LinkedIn as well, and MySpace. We're really hip with the times. And we might be playing some shows in Austin once things are a little more amicable to social interaction. You can slide in on my LinkedIn or Instagram, Peter Kishler. Pretty easy to find. That's your call. I look forward to the DMs from you.
Hello, this is DJ Rusty. I do On the Way to 7-Eleven on Saturday nights during the Winter Rim shows. I'm from El Paso, Texas. I wanted to go to UT to have a little change of scenery. Got a little old and boring just being in the same town. And I thought UT would be the best way to have that change and kind of just come into your own and be independent. As for the music I'm listening to, for the past year and a half, so I've been getting really into R&B. Just I like to feel like I can sing, even though I can't. And R&B is the best way for me to let that out and just belt. I'm not too sure if that's changed since I joined KVRX. If anything, I've gotten more into R&B and the emerging artists in that genre, and ones that are just barely on the come up, barely putting their stuff on Spotify and Apple Music. So that's been really fun to dig out those new artists. As for anything exciting or engaging happening in my world, especially in a panty, not too much. Just chilling, vibing, trying to figure out my next move after I graduate. Academia, I'm tired of you, but I'm gonna probably end up in grad school, so that's been fun, just trying to figure out what I'm gonna do with my life and things like that. A question that's been occupying my mind recently is, obviously, since I'm graduating next semester, is just what do I want out of life and exactly what fulfills me at the end of the day. That's just something I keep mulling over in my head back and forth, and I still can't come to an answer. And I don't know, I feel like I'm on the brink of something great, but I don't know. Patience is definitely something I need to practice in terms of figuring out what I want to do for the rest of my life, essentially. Booth, I never actually got to be in the booth. I'm a new DJ who barely started. But the things that give me the same feelings of freedom and catharsis is, I don't know, just finding new music and just being oh, this is good. I feel like within the first 10 seconds of a song, I'd be this is good, This show has really allowed me to do more of that and share it on a wider scale. And I don't know, kind of the same idea of sharing a song you're listening to on Instagram, but in a cooler way. You can play the whole song, you can have some commentary on it, and I think that's so fun, and that's something I really enjoyed doing since joining KVRX, and that's given me a lot of joy. Favorite memories or stories, I think my favorite memory was our first show ever. We took about a semester to get it together, but it was, I don't know, it's just the funnest thing I have done in a long while. I hope to continue doing it until I graduate. Advice for new DJs, just go all out, honestly. Don't be scared to play songs that you're interested in, because you never know who's listening and who can be finding their next favorite song. Try not to be so shy. It's not as intimidating as you think. People can keep up with me on Twitter at Risty Misty, RISTIMISTI, or just Arissiney on Instagram. Thank you. Bye, guys.
Hey, my name is Carson, also known as DJ Brown Note. My current show right now is Prince Brown Note's Post-Punk Palace. I had Tea Time with Prince Brown Note, which was a UK music show. And I had 2 freeform shows before that from Dallas, Texas. And I came to UT just because I was automatically admitted and I knew it was a good school. And I didn't feel like applying to other places because that took too long. So I just went to UT. My favorite music to listen to now, I've been listening to a lot of Silver Jews, specifically their the Tanglewood Numbers. That record's really good. And So yeah, I've been listening to that a lot. Honestly, not. I've just been playing a lot of video games just to pass time and stuff, but that's always good fun. So, well, I do KVRX remotely, and I also do this thing called Entropy FM, which is like a worldwide radio collective pirate radio thing, which is a lot of fun. And so I actually do that live, so that kind of gives me the feeling of being in the booth. I think, yeah, it was Grant's house, and there was just like karaoke and stuff, and that was like my first social I went to, and I felt really welcome, even though I was just a freshman. So that was a lot of fun. Historic moments, I don't know, I would just say KVRX Fest is pretty historic. That's pretty big. Advice for new DJs, I would say don't be scared like I was, and just go sign up for all the stuff you can, get those volunteer points, because it's a lot easier. KVRX works better if there's more volunteers. People can keep up with me. I actually just deleted all of my social media, but you can listen to my show called Prince Brown Notes Post-Punk Palace. I'm assuming it'll be in prime time next semester, but I'm not 100% sure. All right, peace.
Hey Reno, this is Evan, DJ Roly Poly, and I'm going to answer some questions for you. I'm from Houston, Texas, and I came to UT just for the UT film program. It's apparently the second best in the nation for public film schools, so here I am because I decided to do that my senior year of high school. Also because I knew that Austin would be a really good fit for me. What music am I listening to, and has that changed since I joined KVRX? Right now I'm listening to a lot of jazz, ambient, singer-songwriter stuff, pop, either just art pop or mainstream pop, and 70s, a lot of just anything from the 70s, new age music. Generally, that's kind of my taste right now. And that's a big change from my previous diet before KVRX, which was 90% indie rock. And really, I really liked listening to anything current, anything getting buzz. I followed a lot of publications and whatnot, and would listen to everything that came out in 2016 or 2017. And I still like doing that, but definitely not to the same extent. And apparently, according to Spotify, I like the 70s the most now. Nothing life-changing, but I'm going to New York City to see a couple friends of mine who are avid chess players and who have a friend who is one of the best players in the country. And I've been getting my chess game up as much as possible before I go and visit them. I'm really excited to play them and learn from them. Chess has come into my life recently, not from the Queen's Gambit, but I freaking love the Queen's Gambit. In the summer I started playing, and it's been really, really, really good for me. What's a question that has been occupying my mind for a while? One, what would a KVRX house be like? Just what would that existence be like? Living there, going there, if there was a house with 10 KVRXers living there. And more seriously, what do I take into consideration when I'm deciding if I like a piece of music or not? Should I take the artistic honesty or intent into my consideration more? Because at the moment, it does not really matter to me. I kind of separate the music from the artist, and am just thinking about if that is the best way to listen to music. I certainly have no problem with it right now. I love music as much as I have, and I feel like I'm getting a lot out of music. I'm feeling very inspired by it. Kind of question of how to approach art, I guess. I really like riding my bike at night without using my hands and listening to music. It is really fun. I feel very powerful doing that. One memory that will always stick with me was going to a party in my freshman year that Lydia Fortuna hosted, and
all of the parties that she hosted were great that I've gone to. And this particular one, though, was pretty special to me just for a couple moments. I remember being on the balcony and laughing until I couldn't breathe anymore when Sam Paulson made a joke about Adobe Photoshop. I forgot what the joke was, but it killed me and killed everyone on the balcony. And later I was still on the balcony and I was surrounded by Brooks Johnson, Ben Kelder, Wyatt Corder, and Isaiah Thomas. And Wyatt made a profound comment about our outfits, just saying how great they all were, or how great he thought they were, and just how classic they were. And I'm not sure what he meant by classic, but I know what he meant by classic. And it just felt like a privilege almost to be on that balcony. And it was definitely like a defining, wow, I'm in college moment for me. Advice for new DJs. There are no limits for how far you can push your show. Dream big. Audio is a very, very powerful form, and learning to use it to express yourself to the fullest is a beautiful thing and is very possible with a radio show. Do not take the opportunity of having a radio show for granted. This is a really cool opportunity that you'll most likely never have in your life. You have the opportunity to, one, be on FCC airwaves, but also be in the community of KVRX, which is the best community at UT for sure. Make something amazing and do not be afraid to be different and broaden your musical sensibilities. And actually listen to KVRX, listen to everyone's show, your friends' shows, and to people you don't know, listen to their shows, because you will find amazing music, and through that you'll be able to connect with other KVRX members and just really get more out of being in KVRX. For me, there is no better compliment than letting someone know you like their show. And I'm not really on social media right now. I am on Snapchat, but I don't know if that's a legitimate social media form anymore. But if you feel inclined, I am there. You can look up Evan Scherer, ERER. There's 2 extra ERs on my username and Facebook, I guess. But you can also listen to my show, which is The Space Between. And I'm not sure what time it will be next semester, but definitely going to be a late night show. So please, if it interests you, I play new age, ambient, folk, jazz, just whatever, pretty much in that kind of, I guess, mood. It's just late night music, and I really enjoy it. So thank you, Reno, for being an awesome DJ. I've always appreciated you and just your whole aura. And you're just well admired, and I am very happy to be on your last show. Thank you for letting me be on the radio right now.
Hello, I'm DJ UFO, and I am here to talk about my experience with KVRX at the station and all of the beautiful moments in between. I have been host of Romance, etc. for the past, I think this will be my 4th semester with it. Began in the summer of 2019. Before that, I had a freeform show called Sounds Like a Fever Dream. Pretty cool. I am from San Antonio. What brought me to UT was obviously divine providence. I was actually enrolled to go to Wellesley College senior year, which was like my dream school and wonderful. And then at the last minute, UT was like, hey, actually, do you want to come here? And so now I'm at UT. I'm a public health major, and it's been the greatest 3.5 years of my life. The music I'm listening to right now is a lot of folk music, a lot of blues. I'm currently having just a mini Bob Dylan phase. Blonde on Blonde, his 1966 album, just like absolutely upended my life. I've been singing that album nonstop. The music that I'm into has changed since joining KVRX. When I joined KVRX sophomore year, I was really into shoegaze. Right? And I attribute that without shame to the boy I was seeing. Thank God that has changed since. And my top genre of last year was freak folk. I love folk music. It's everything. It's really easy to lose yourself in that kind of sound, I believe. Things happening in my world are always exciting. The new moon is tomorrow. When you hear this, I guess it'll be waning a little bit, right? I don't know. I am looking to apply to jobs, but right now I'm just trying to enjoy my final semester at UT, trying to hug my friends really tight. Oh, I'll tell you what, I got a book in the mail today. I got John Fahey's thesis on Charlie Patton. John Fahey is a 1960s folk guy who basically started the folk revival, and he did his PhD thesis at UCLA on Charlie Patton, who is like the father of the Delta blues. It's amazing. It is extremely extensive to a point where I didn't even know it could be that extensive. So that's exciting. Love those guys. Something that I've been continually asking myself is, where do I go from here? Where am I going? Am I doing the right thing? And I believe those questions are just things that pester everyone that you can't really get away from. And I'm trying to answer those questions in matters of faith and in matters of prayer. Since the coronavirus took control of our lives and escorted us out of the booth, I find catharsis on my walks and in the divine path and in the ordinary. Every day I try to walk around for a very long time, and my path is never predetermined. It is exactly where the Spirit takes me. Today on my walk I saw the goats up in Hyde Park, and one of them came up to me and offered his head, and we had a nice conversation, and I pet his head, and it was that moment of comfort and gentle communion that brought me catharsis. Further, whenever I pre-record romance, etc., it is a sort of cathartic process because I literally just speak into my microphone, and immediately after speaking, if I think it's okay, then I don't listen to it any more times after that, which is why my audio is so bad. And so I hear it again when I play it on air, and most of the time I completely forget everything I've said. I try to replicate the spontaneity that we have in the booth in that way. Some of my favorite memories of KVRX happened in the booth during my show. One time I got a caller, a sweet man called in for my 7 p.m. Romance Etc. show and said he was playing my show while cooking dinner for his family. That was my favorite caller. I knew KVRX would be my new home at college during DJ training when I didn't know a single soul, and we were talking about our favorite bands. When I said my favorite band was Bright Eyes, Evan Stack, who has my heart, lifted up his sleeve and showed me the Bright Eyes tattoo that he has on his bicep of the Letting Off the Happiness album art. That moment is like deeply encrypted in my mind. Also, summer 2019, that was the first term that I was on staff. I spent a lot of that summer sitting at the MD computer at the station talking to Ariel for hours. We talked for so long, and that's when I felt comfortable at the station, less of an outsider and more of a known friend. I feel like some of the most important and dramatic things have happened at the station just because of the nature of what we do there. For example,
so much healing happens in that booth that we don't talk about. Maybe it's just me, but I know it's not. During Romance, etc., I would play these songs that I knew would arouse some kind of really visceral emotion in me. And for example, Hand Habits always makes me extremely emotional for personal reasons. And one day during Romance, etc., I decided to play Hand Habits. And while I was literally like melting sitting there in front of that microphone, Reno was sitting next to me just staring at me like I was a bomb. And that was also a moment that I knew Reno would be in my life for a long time. Though I've never told him that. I guess you'll hear that now. Advice for new DJs. Hi. I recommend that you make yourself known, that you take up that space, that you make friends deliberately, selectively, and with intention. I promise that what you put in to this organization, you will get out tenfold. And that is true in terms of friendship, in terms of music, and in terms of self-growth. I really believe that. I know it's scary and intimidating, especially when you don't know like other people close to you, but the more you show up, the more you make yourself known. It just happens naturally, and you make authentic connections through the music you listen to, and just the beautiful moments you get yourself entangled in. If you want to talk, chat, tweet me at you can find me on Twitter at Galaxy Abby, or on Instagram at Galaxy Abby as well. I would love to speak and sing and chime. Thank you, Reno, for having me on your show. I wish you all the best.
Your heart beats hard like the pounding of the sparrow on the window that faces the yard. And you're far, but not that far. the same.